Good evening, boys and girls. We are back and better than ever, and back first time in a long time. I feel like we're on a phone-in show. First time, long time caller. But this is Press Break presented by the Juicebox Pod, and we're coming at you with a new setup. Okay, typically it's just Press Break, right? We're talking about college basketball, talking about the rankings, talking about our teams, really using it as more of a vent session. I feel like, but we're going to bring you a new format today. It's called the Offseason. Press Break the Offseason. This is a show where we're going to get together once a week, maybe once every other week. We're going to open it up to the public. We're going to talk about anything and everything not related to college basketball. And the less amount of sports we can talk about, the better this show is going to go. Because we've got so many irrelevant thoughts running through our minds, and we need somewhere to put them out. So if you're watching on Facebook at Sports Shift Media, Sports with BJ, on the Sports with Media YouTube channel, this is a fully interactive show. The link is in the description. You click that bad boy, we'll let you in. We're always willing to have some people on. And speaking of having people on, we are presented, as always, by the Juicebox Pod, and the Godfather himself, Jerry Nixon Jr., is in the house. JR, how we doing, man?
Good, man, fellas. Pleasure being here. I feel like it's a long time overdue for us three to just get together and talk the shit. I mean, talking with people about thoughts, like random thoughts in your head, that's kind of my ammo. So, this is my perfect setting right now. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And so it's Friday night. We're going to kick this off with what you drinking. So I myself am sitting here. I got a little G&T from the U Letterkenny fans. You know what that is. Miss McMurray loves her a good G&T. JR, what we got going on over there?
I'm addicted, fellas. I got the high noon sun sips,
no.
boys. I got the high noon sun sips. I'm on watermelon right now. I just had peach. These things, the reason that I can just keep downing these is seltzers are great. I don't really drink beer anymore, but these are more like natural juice and natural vodka. So it's kind of bad because when I crack the lid open and it starts going down, I can't really stop. But that's what we're here to do.
Yep. That's it, baby. JT, what are we on tonight?
I am still on my icy mango kick. I bought a big case of this, so still down in it. The mango tastes just so good. Mango and peach things. I'm with Jerry there on the high noons. I usually drink the peach, but I'm gonna keep going with this mango kick until it runs out.
All right, I love it. And JR, the question is, dip or no dip? Are we in? Are we lipping right now?
Listen, I'm going to bum you guys out. I know I'm a tobacco rep. I should always be doing tobacco. I really don't rub anymore, fellas. I don't. And I know that's crazy to hear because all the time I'm repping West Virginia. I got my Carhartt on purpose. I'm ready to go out in the farm, run the rototiller a little bit. But I normally do nicotine pouches these days.
Okay, a little Camel Snus.
Yeah, well, actually, so I'll plug my brand. There's new nicotine pouches called Free, FRE. That's what I'm on. And normally, if I don't do those, I like Zen.
No free ads.
No free ads. No free ads at all.
And JR, you are in for a treat because I have a guest sitting in the lobby that was our first ever guest on Brood Bets. Do you remember who that was by chance?
I truthfully, I don't.
It's fine. He has a new nickname. His name is Pat. But everyone that comes on the Brood Bets has to tell us how they take their coffee. Kind of like the Dan Patrick Show. Hey, first-time caller, 57265. That's a big boy. I don't know why I went with those numbers. So we have people tell us. How they take their coffee. And he is forever now 2 sugar, 1 cream Pat. Because he got so specific. Ladies and gentlemen, live and in living color, welcome 2 sugar, 1 cream Pat. How we doing, bud?
Doing good, man. It's Friday, baby. You can't argue with nothing.
That's it. So we've got some icy mango. We got a G&T. We got a high noon vodka and watermelon. What's Pat on?
I'm going for broke, baby.
That's it.
Love it. Can't go wrong with that.
And he's ripping darts. He's ripping darts already. I love to see it.
All day, every day. Yes. All right, so let's get started with just a little bit of sports talk because we are, after all, a sports show here on Press Break. Let's talk about JT. You mentioned this, and I know you've been wanting to talk about this. So one of the topics I have tonight is Lakers injury problems, ? Because I feel like you and I both have a similar mindset on this. But go ahead and take us away here on what you want to say about the Lakers.
So, I mean, they're sitting, at the 6th spot right now? 7th spot?
Somewhere not good.
They're probably going to play in that playing game. I just don't see LeBron is not healthy. AD is not healthy. They lost Schroeder. I mean, that whole team has looked completely different this year because no one's healthy. I'm not looking forward to the matchup against the Suns if that happens because I'm a Suns fan at heart.
Mm-hmm.
And we got our boy Javon Carter down there from West Virginia. But I think this team could lose in the playing game because they don't have enough chemistry. They don't have I just don't. There's something about them this year that I don't like. And then LeBron's going to probably go win his next championship and prove me wrong.
Do you think it's possible a little bit here that they're trying to avoid playing? Who's the one seed? Isn't it Utah right now? I think everyone's trying to avoid. Is it Utah or Portland?
Utah's first, Phoenix is second.
Okay, Phoenix.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to avoid that game. Quite honestly, I mean, look, what Phoenix is doing this year, Chris Paul has revitalized his career in Phoenix, and I'm glad to see it. As an ACC guy, I loved watching him at Wake. He's a good dude. He's an ambassador for the NBA. He's the president of the NBA Players Association. He's just a good figure for the NBA. So when he was over there at the Clippers, man, it felt like his career was coming to a halt real quick. And now he's over there in Phoenix doing his thing with D-Book, and they're doing great things. That's a scary squad. Utah with Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, scary squad. I just don't – you see what happens with the Lakers when the Lakers don't have LeBron, and it baffles me because they've had now 3 years. I mean, 2 if you want to include AD, but they've had 3 years with LeBron, and it seems like they're a completely different team with him off the court, right? How is that possible? How are you a 1 seed with him? And you've got 2 of the biggest stars in the NBA, and you're a borderline 6-7 seed in a play-in game without him. That doesn't make any sense to me. The only thing that makes sense to me is that they're just doing what they're doing on an intentional basis. But I don't know. That's an NBA conspiracy theorist in me. But Pat, what do you think there about the Lakers? What we got going on? Is that Kai? You got baby Kai over there?
No, I got my buddy's kid, Cam. He's over here.
Cam.
Yeah,
We love the children.
I'm on the phone. I'm hanging out.
Okay.
But I would say, kind of just thinking about what you said, I'll be honest, I'm not a big, I don't watch a lot of the regular NBA season, but it does fascinate me when the playoffs start, how the athletic kind of gets cranked up. So the way I look at it, when the Lakers don't have LeBron, it's probably one of those things where it's got to be a little bit mental because when you're playing and you have LeBron, that when in doubt, you have that guy that can kind of flip the switch like that. And it's got to be kind of different when all of those other guys are out there without him. Not saying they're not talented, but they have to kind of decide amongst each other who's going to be that hand, who's going to be that guy at the end of the game. But I mean, honestly, I'll be honest. I was a LeBron hater for the longest. I loved him when he was at the Cavs. Once he left, I used to hate on him all the time. Now that he just won the last title, the dude's incredible. So if they somehow get in that playing game, we're going to see him in the finals again, at least the conference finals, I feel like.
Yeah, I see. The only problem I have with that logic is that he did that for so many years. His entire career has been spent in the Eastern Conference, and the Eastern Conference is trash. First 4 seeds. And that's being generous. If we're being completely honest, that's being generous. And so him title chasing and all that stuff is nothing new here. I mean, he did it with the Heat. He did it again with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, I'm glad that he brought one home, but he did bring in some players to make that happen. So he's running through the West now. And I think that reality is finally hitting him in the face. He's looking at these squads going, man, I got to play the Western Conference now in the play-in, in the quarters, in the semis, in the conference. Holy crap. I used to just have to worry about them once a year, and it was probably going to be Golden State, right?
It's true. So, you're right.
Well, one thing that concerns me, too, is we've never seen LeBron spend this much time out of the lineup. Like, he has been he's been a monster his entire career in the way that he trains, the way that he keeps his body healthy. That even small injuries, he seems to be out for just 3 to 4 games and he's back. But I mean, this is a ankle sprain that he
High
says
ankle sprain, yeah.
he says he'll never be back to 100%, which I don't believe that. But that's just LeBron being a little over dramatic. I feel like he usually is, but he's missed
nothing new.
Yeah,
No.
he's missed 20-something games now. I just don't know if he can come back in and flip the switch and be ready to go in the first game.
That kind of plays to my point, and I think some of the points that we're all trying to make are in unison. We're just saying it different ways. If your ankle's never going to be the same, if it's never going to be fully healed, why are you still sitting? Like, you've been out for 3 months, right? It's almost 3 months you've been out.
Let's just say he comes back and that high ankle sprain isn't back to 100%. Then he hurts himself again. Now he's guaranteed out for playoffs. You know what I mean?
But he already said it'll never be 100%.
Well, that's like we.
So you want to save it for the regular season next year, and he's already established regular season don't mean nothing to him.
He's going to let them get their playoff seed, and he's going to come back for the playoffs, and then that's when he's going to be back to 100%. But as far as the team goes, I mean, it's kind of like a '96 Bulls thing. You know what I mean? When they had Michael Jordan on the court. That's the presence of him being there. He builds a team just by being there. He doesn't even have to perform well. Just him being there. They're like, dude, we got Michael Jordan on our side. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, he was a first-round bounce until they got him help, though.
Right. This leads right off of what JR was saying. And I kind of agree with the man. You know, it's just the presence of him being there. He's that good of a basketball player that just him being on the court boosts everybody else's stamina, boosts their morale, gets the adrenaline going. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I'm comparing what's going on right now as far as the Lakers falling
and
off,
see,
per se.
That's a really good point because this is a common distinction I have between MJ and Jordan, and that's always a conversation. And before I get into this, my overall standpoint is they are different players in different eras. They're both great. Leave it alone. But if you're going to make me choose one, I'm going to take Jordan for the exact same thing you just said, and I'm going to flip it on LeBron. Jordan was a winner. He didn't need you. He was going to do his thing whether you were there or not. LeBron, I think, loves the attention. He loves being needed. If you were on a squad and Jordan was out for a game for whatever reason, which, by the way, in the 10 years that he had that major scoring title run, he averaged 82 games a year for 10 years straight. Okay? So if you were in a situation where you needed Michael Jordan on the floor for you to play your best, he didn't want you. Your ability should not be impacted by me. You should have ability, and I should be able to accentuate your abilities and make you a better player. But you should still be able to ball out whether or not I'm on the court.
No, I agree.
That's exactly.
I'm with that.
That's exactly. I think just him being there did. You know what I mean? What you just said, him making you a better player, accentuating your abilities on the court. Him just being there is what did that. You know what I mean? That's like having Babe Ruth on your baseball team, man. You know what I mean? You're going to go out there and you're going to be like, we got
it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's kind of the same thing.
And
I'm a baseball guy per se, but that's my analogy to it. You know, you got Babe Ruth on your team. You're like, I don't even need to throw strikes. I'm just going to go up there and, you know what I mean, do my thing. Let Babe Ruth.
It's facts. Now, but we have to remember too, like, it's LeBron, dude. He's trying to create this storyline. So when he comes back, he's going to come in that play-in game. They're probably going to wax whoever they play. So when they make a run, then he can sit back in the press conference and say, yeah, man, we made it all the way from the playoff game or play-in game. You know, my ankle was bad, and here I am back in the finals. And I can't even knock him for it because it's kind of like a good comparison for me is it's kind of like a UFC or boxer creating that background noise. So when they make it and win, the storylines there, I just feel like that's what LeBron's doing.
No, that's like all of UFC and boxing. We're going to create this storyline, but we're both going to get a fat bag at the end of
Facts.
it.
The new one is stealing your hat.
That's it.
Got your hat.
I got your hat.
Got your hat.
Y'all, so
101, man. That's
when I started cracking up a little bit, I have to apologize. I was not listening to two sugar, one cream pat. I was looking at my notes for the show, and the question I wrote out just had me dying. So
give it to me.
So the note that I have here is lying is the most fun you can have without taking your clothes off. I don't know what frame of mind I was in when I wrote this as a show note, but I do have 2 sub-points on this. I do have 2 sub-points. So lying is the most fun you can have without your clothes off. And the 2 points that I have is diet rationalization, aka cheating on your diet, right? You're lying to yourself. Well, I did go extra heavy on the bench press today, so it'll be all right if I have a couple slices of pizza. Or over exaggerating when you're storytelling to make it sound, something that those release those endorphins. That's fun. So I think the question I was going for is when is our favorite time to lie? What do we like to lie about? And I'll be honest, that diet thing hit me hard. That hit me hard.
I thought you were talking about me there for a second. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, did JP give him some notes on me? Like, what's going on, man?
Diet starts Monday every week.
Every week.
Now, but I'll say real quick for me, because I do this all the time. I think my favorite thing to lie about is when I know I have one thing to do around the house, but I spread that one thing that could take me maybe 10 minutes, like 8 hours. Mm-hmm. So when someone is like, hey, Jake, let's do this, or hey, let's go there, I'm like, oh man, sorry, I'm washing my clothes. Like that is my all-time favorite move to do, because hey, we're adults now. We can say and do whatever we want these days.
All right, so JR, I know you're married, right?
No, I just have a girlfriend. Nobody's lucky enough yet, baby.
Pat's married, I'm married, JT's engaged, right?
No, just dating.
Just dating.
We own a house together, but
okay. So we're all in serious relationships, right? I would venture to say right now, the number one lie we all tell: got to spend time with the wife. Sorry.
The
got to spend time with the girl. Sorry.
The best part about buying a house is you have a built-in excuse now to just anytime anyone asks you to go out, do something. Just got a lot of stuff to do around here.
Love all of that. Love all of that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about one of the biggest things going on in the NFL that's not the draft. Good old boy Urban Meyer brings his butt buddy Tim Tebow down to Jacksonville. And so a lot's been going on about this. If you listen to ESPN at all, it's a race thing. If you listen to Fox Sports, it's a what's the word I'm looking for? Nepotism thing. Me personally, I think this is a money grabbing thing, because I'm pretty sure that the fans in Jacksonville are about this close to being done with that team and shipping them off to London. And I think this is some ditch effort. We got the number 1 pick in the draft. We got Tim Tebow at tight end, who, God, I hope he never sees the field, because Trevor Lawrence's career will be over before it starts if he's on tight end blocking on pass protection. So I want to get y'all's theory. What do we make of Tim Tebow at tight end?
Here's a Jacksonville fan for you. What do you think about Tebow?
Boo.
There you have it. There you have it.
Jerry, I feel like you have some strong things to say about this, because you had Tebow down there in Denver.
I do, and for me, I'm kind of in between a rock and a hard place here, because I personally can see and understand the arguments for every single point that you just said. But the way I look at it is I actually think, for me, I think it's more of a locker room morale type deal. I don't know if Tebow will even be on the team the whole year. I think it's just one of those things where he's just going to bring him in to try to create that energy and that winning mentality for a young quarterback, so he can learn what it really truly means to work hard and win. And I truthfully think it's just as simple as that. I mean, when Tebow was in Denver, we were 1-4 when they ended up putting him in as the starter. We went 8-8. We beat the Steelers, and we made it.
Demaryius Thomas post route.
Dude, you don't know how many times I've watched that. Dude, it's great, because we were, quick story, we were watching that in Arnold, where me and Jake lived when we were at WVU, and I've been surrounded by Steeler fans my whole life. But to just kind of wrap it up, I just think it's a morale thing, if I'm being honest with you guys.
Yeah.
I think I've only watched that play, the Demaryius Thomas catch, one time. I watched it in the playoffs, and I don't think I've ever gone back.
I can send it to you if you want to watch it.
Okay.
It's his active screensaver. No, I mean, you made a lot of good points there. The only thing that I would disagree with is I don't think you're going to show Trevor anything because let's be honest, outside of a playoff win, Tim Tebow has done nothing in the NFL at the quarterback position. And you're talking about a kid that has never lost a regular season game. The only games he's ever lost have been national semifinal or championships game. I don't think Tim Tebow is going to show Trevor Lawrence anything about how to be a professional at the NFL level. Now, work ethic, that's a great point. My thing here is I compare after that move let's go back one move to make this point. The move that he tried to bring that Iowa strength and conditioning coach in, knowing that he had all those allegations of the racial slurs and all that stuff, that's college ball stuff. You can't get away with that in the NFL. And then he backs it up with this move right here. And if I'm a player in that locker room, and I know Tim Tebow's been out of football since 2015. That's when he was cut by the Eagles in the preseason. He didn't even make the roster. He was cut in the preseason by Philadelphia after stints with New England, Denver, the Jets. He was, we could go on and on. I'm not taking Urban Meyer seriously, man. Like, you brought a dude. There are so many dudes out there that have worked their tail off at that position, and you're going to bring in your boy that won you 2 national championships and a Heisman in Florida before you had health problem 1.0, and then chomp on. Hey, they still had Cam. I mean, he ran Cam Newton out of Gainesville, right? So you're bringing this guy in that's got no talent at the position whatsoever. And let's say I know Tebow's an athlete. I know he's a freak of nature physically. Playing tight, I'm going to ask you one question. If you're quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars and Tim Tebow's in and you know that it's a pass play that he doesn't have a route and Myles Garrett goes wide on him, do you have any confidence whatsoever that Tim Tebow's blocking Myles Garrett?
Nope.
And that's what we're saying. Like, no training or amount of athleticism was going to make up for a tight end that's been doing this their whole life and made it to the pros. So if I'm an NFL player in the Jacksonville Jaguars locker room, I already think my head coach is a joke.
I agree. And I mean, it's hard for me because I feel like I'm very biased on this topic because I don't really like Urban Meyer. Now, let me clarify that. He's a great coach. He can win. He wins national championships in college. Great. Will it translate to the NFL? We don't know. The problem with Urban Meyer is once things start going south, I'm not going to knock it. He might have serious issues, but all of a sudden he gets sick. He can't coach anymore and he retires to be able to get out of his situation. Like I said, if he really has health problems, that's one thing. I'm not making fun of anybody that has health problems. But if he does this again, if it keeps going over and over and over again where he does it at Florida. He wants to get out. He gets sick, gets the dream job at Ohio State, dominates in the beginning, didn't want to do it anymore, gets sick, takes this Jacksonville job. Let's be real. I just feel bad because Tebow, if he makes the team, he's going to end up being on like a 6 and whatever team or a 5 and whatever team. Jacksonville's not going to be good. I'm sorry. I mean, you can have Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a god. But this is the NFL, bud. I mean, it's going to take him at least a couple seasons to get a rhythm, and Urban doesn't really stay there longer than a couple seasons, which sucks.
Absolutely. And another point to make, too, I think it's interesting. You mentioned the health problems. That's just what he cites, right? And again, hope that he is in good health.
Exactly.
But in both situations, there were serious allegations against the program and or university when he bowed out. You go back to Florida, it was talking about, what was the guy, Nganwe or whatever, that was talking about the culture that made him almost want to commit suicide because of how vulgar and mentally abusive Urban Meyer was. And then a bunch of other players come forward. Percy Harvin talks about how he had concussion after concussion. He played his whole junior season with a concussion and they never took him out. All this stuff, and then Urban Meyer gets sick. Then he comes back after 2 years and goes to Ohio State. Then all the sexual allegations and the sexual harassment and all the improprieties that were kept under wraps and all that stuff. And now we're paying players to play and the kids are getting free tattoos and exchanging signed jerseys for proprietors. And then, I'm sick, my health. And let's be real and have some common sense, because that's one thing we're not going to lack on this show. We may not be book smarts, but we're street smartses. Okay. Being an analyst for college football all day long is just as intensive as being a coach. Every bit. So what part of coaching football was too bad for your health that being able to be an analyst on Fox Football wasn't? That would be my question.
That's a perfect question if you ask me.
I mean, yeah, I truthfully, I don't even know how to answer that because I don't see it as different. I don't see it as different. I mean, being the only, like, trying to play devil's advocate and trying to think of the other side, maybe he stresses a lot about his players because he knows what's going on behind the scenes and he's worried that things might come out, which they normally do, and then he ends up leaving, which he always does. But let's be honest here, fellas. You can disagree if you want. As soon as that Notre Dame job gets open, he's gone. Yeah. That's his dream job. That's what he wants. So if Jacksonville goes one season and they're 8-8 or 8-9 rather, because they're playing that extra game, and that Notre Dame job opens up, I think he's gone anyway. So I think it's a matter of time before we see Urban, unfortunately, leave.
I don't see Notre Dame dealing with that.
Me neither.
He's got too much of a history. Notre Dame, I mean, let's face it. I'm 98% Irish. They're the fighting Irish. They will not put up with that. I'm telling you that right now. Either he's going to be on like probation his entire time with the team, or they're just going to flat out tell him no. I mean, I really don't see that happening. As far as Tim Tebow stands, this is where I'm at. I agree with you that it might be a morale boost type thing, bringing in, I'm not going to say a football player. I'm going to call it a public figure.
There you go.
Bringing him in, that might be something. But what happens when he goes up for that seam route and he comes face to face with one of the meanest linebackers in the league? My man's going to get hurt. We all know it. Everybody sitting here is thinking the same thing. That man's going to get hurt by the end of the season.
See, I don't think he'll get hurt. I think he's a big enough physical specimen. I think he can take the beating. My thing is, if we're all in agreement that homeboy is just a ploy to get more, just like the Mets did spring training 4 years ago when they signed him for the entire spring training to put tickets in the seats, because what was happening at that time? The Mets sucked. The Mets still suck. Like, they were trying to get anything they could do. So why not put him in a front office role? Why go through this rigmarole where we're going to tease you with Tim Tebow at tight end, knowing full and well that boy is never going to see the field as a starting tight end? And you're going to take a cap hit for a publicity stunt? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Let's face it, though, for real. Sports are sports. But at the same time, it has everything to do with every other TV show that's on TV right now. It's all about ratings. They want to put butts in the stands, and they want to put money in their pockets. They want merchandise sold. You know how many Jaguars fans are out there right now buying a Tim Tebow shirt? Mm-hmm. I mean, come on, man. That's all it's about. I hate to say it, and it's unfortunate, but that's what it is right now.
But I feel like you could do that. Like, first of all, let's not sit here and act like Trevor Lawrence isn't going to outsell Tim Tebow in jersey sales. I know that he's got a big following in Gainesville, and that's his home and all that stuff. And Jacksonville, I'm sorry, I know all that. But Trevor Lawrence is going to lead the team in jersey sales. You could have put this dude. Can you imagine? Just think of it for a second. And this is how, like, I'm not saying I'm smarter than Urban Meyer, but in this particular situation, I'm smarter than Urban Meyer. Can you imagine the buzz that would be around the Jacksonville Jaguars if they announced, we just drafted Trevor Lawrence #1 overall from the Clemson Tigers, and we just brought on Tim Tebow as a quarterback coach?
Yeah.
Bro, love it.
That could have been an easy answer. I still think Tebow wants to play, though. He still wants to be around all the guys and create that buzz, and I think he feeds off of that attention that all the outlets give him and all the fans give him. So I wouldn't factor that in too much, that if Urban Meyer went to him and said, hey, do you want to roll on this team? I think he would have said yes, but he probably wants to be a player too.
Yeah, and also to piggyback off that, let's not forget he's married now, so he's fucking. He's got a different energy behind him now. He's a different ball player. Before he was bless me, Father, for I have sinned, and now he's fucking belt around the neck in the bedroom, boys. It's different.
It's a BDE, right?
Do you? So I'll ask this to all of you. I would like to hear your answer. Do you actually think is QB1 of the Florida Gators, 2-time national champions? Do you think he never hooked up in college?
Guaranteed.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think he did. I know that's crazy coming out of my mouth, but I honestly think he was probably one of those guys that was just I mean, he might have been hooking up, but I don't think he was legitimately having sex. And Tim, if you got me, you got me.
Yeah,
He's the 25-year-old version, baby.
I can see Tim Tebow as the king of over-the-top stuff.
Facts.
I think that he might have been hanging out with some women. Then he sits down, he opens his mouth for about 2 seconds, and then they just slowly walk away.
See, I feel like have you seen his wife though? Like she is beautiful.
Yeah.
And they were dating while he was. I think they got together like his sophomore year.
Okay.
So like he's been, and he just seems like like I really hope that the whole Christianity thing isn't. I mean, I picked up his book. I have it on my shelf right now. I read his stuff. I follow his lives. I love the man of faith that he is. It would just be the ultimate ploy of all time if he's on the back end bumping uglies every Friday night in Gainesville.
Hey, yeah, come on,
he's got two natties like this just going at it. Like
you gotta watch. Regular people, that's fine. You gotta watch out for them Christian girls, man. That's the one you gotta watch out for. We all know.
Oh, homebred closet freaks.
Absolutely. Very
factual. If they go to a private school, they call it a private school for a reason.
I know, because I went to one, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
I love that. All right, so we got two married dudes here, and we got two dudes that are in serious relationships and buying houses and all that fun stuff. So I was listening actually to the Ed Milet show, and I don't know if any of y'all know that, but he's this like motivational guy. He's a really fun listen because he'll just tell you what's wrong with you in the most blunt way possible. He's a good listen. But he posed a question the other day that I had an issue answering. And the question was, if you had to be with someone and they were either boring or broke, but not both, which could you spend the rest of your life with?
Ooh.
That's tough. That's
a tough one, right?
Yeah.
But I'd rather be with a chick that's broke than somebody that I can't enjoy and have a conversation with. And I'm just being honest. I mean, I love monies. Don't get me wrong. Monies is great, but if we don't connect on that intellectual vibe and can sit down and have a conversation, I mean, I'm good. Nobody gets me off better than myself. That's what I always say.
Love that.
I'll figure the money thing out. We got to at least be able to have a conversation and go do things, have some fun.
No, I'm gonna narrow this question down. Is she boring in general? Like maybe she's like good.
It's not sexual too, Sugar One Cream. It's not sexual.
Just you just had to find out. But if that's the case, then yeah, I got to go with what everybody else is going with, man.
All right, we've got another guest in the lobby here.
We got to lock in on the intellectual.
All right, well, here we go. So I am about to add. So this, guys, is my little sister. I love her to death. Don't hold anything back. Don't hold a single thing back. She is a West Virginia girl by college.
Nice.
She played at Davis and Elkins. She played softball, just recently graduated from Elkins, West Virginia. Her name is Kelsey. So we'll bring Kelsey in here onto the stage. Kelsey, what's up?
Welcome to the danger zone.
That's it. So we just got that talk. Well, first of all, introduce your drink. This is Friday, Freestyle Friday.
It's the new Truly fruit punch pack.
Oh, yeah.
My wife drinks. Yeah.
I haven't seen those yet.
JR, I don't want to rub it in, but she's actually downstairs in my kitchen right now because we have co-ed softball after this, so I've had a few as well.
I'm a big seltzer guy. Jake probably knows this, but I went on a big stance against beer. And I like beer, but it was kind of one of those things where I was just like, I'm not going to drink beer ever again. And I actually lasted a year and a half. So to see that the seltzers just keep coming out, it makes me happy. But I want to ask, because I'm a traveling tobacco salesman and I love Elkins. Did you love going to school down there or did it suck?
So it had its perks. So like I loved being in West Virginia because I loved the mountains, like coming to the beach and then going back to school in the mountains. So it was like the best of both worlds. And I didn't really need like the mall because like the closest mall from there was the Canyon or in Clarksburg, like an hour and a half, 45 minutes away, which I never needed the mall or any of that growing up. So I loved it. But a lot of the people who went there couldn't stand it because there really wasn't anything around it. And they weren't like adventurous. They didn't like to go hiking or climbing in the mountains or going to the river or the rope swings. But me, like, I ate that shit up. Like, I loved that stuff.
That sounds like the boring conversation that we were talking about just a minute ago.
So the question that you walked in on, Kelsey, is if you had to be with someone, we're talking life partner, okay? They're either boring or broke, but they're not both. Which could you spend the rest of your life with?
Broke. Hands down.
Yeah?
I can't.
That's 4 for 4.
I can't. Like, I have to have fun. Like, I can't not have fun with somebody. Like, money doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What a fucking vibe, bro. I love that shit.
See, now I got to break up. We can't go unanimous. So I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I can't be with someone that's broke. I can buy a new personality, right? I can fund some habits that give you a personality.
No.
And that's not my heart. But we can't ask a question like that and go unanimous across the board. So I'm playing devil's advocate. I'll buy you a personality, boo boo. Let's get some money.
No, dude, that's funny. Like, some people buy like fake noses, some people buy fake asses, but I'm buying you a personality, baby.
That's it. That's it. What do you want to talk about? Doesn't matter. I'll tell you what we're talking about.
I feel like if you buy enough of those Truly drinks, everyone gets a personality after enough of those.
Right?
That's what I'm talking about. I'll fund some habits. So now that we've got someone fresh out of college, we've got a bunch of people on here that love college towns. We've got 2 very big college towns well represented in Morgantown and Charlottesville. So I'll actually go to the most recent college graduate, Davis and Elkins, and we're going to talk about good eats, right? So I want to talk about 2 different types of categories here. There's the college experience good eats. I went to college in Orlando, Florida, so we can get into that. But I want to know college town good eats, and hometown good eats. Kelsey, take it away.
So we had a place. It was like this little Italian restaurant called Gino's.
Mm.
And there was a mom and pop breakfast place called Scotty's. So we would go Fridays, Saturdays. Obviously, we're like your weekend. They were throwing parties or whatever. Everyone would go to Scotty's, the mom and pop, the next day, and you would eat there. And they had their biscuits and gravy, which I'm obsessed with. Anything breakfast with biscuits and gravy, I'm just sold. And theirs absolutely delicious.
Mm.
And then Gino's was just like this little Italian restaurant that they had there. Their calzones were to die for. I just was obsessed with them. I would always, okay, this is my fat ass coming out, but I would order 2 calzones so I could eat one before practice. And then when I got home, I had another calzone waiting on me after.
What a move. What a move.
That's intelligence at its finest right there.
Facts.
Yeah.
But
Love that.
Elkins didn't really have much other than that. I mean, there's one bar, but that's about it for Elkins.
No, that is what Elkins is very interesting because up north you have Canaan, and then down south you have Snowshoe.
Yep.
So it's like a perfect place, but it's kind of like you just said, they're very, very limited on the food stuff.
So, like,
There you go.
Chick-fil-A or anything like big named, we would have to drive to Clarksburg, which was like 45.
Okay.
So, which I didn't really care for because they had Taco Bell, so I was good.
What was the one place? Because every town has one. Every town has one. It's that restaurant that we don't know why it's still there, but it is, and you don't go. Like, you just let it be what it is. Did y'all have a restaurant like that in Elkins that you just, hey, we don't eat there?
It's the fast food. I cannot think of the fast food seafood. What's that called? Long John Silver's.
Well, that's everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like the only people that eat there are like 70 plus.
Yep.
Yeah.
The people that used to go to Shoney's, that's who goes there.
People keep asking, who's keeping Long John Silver? Baby boomers. That's who's keeping Long John Silver's in business.
I mean,
all right.
All across the state, I feel like Long John Silver's is just closing left and right. So it is funny that Elkins just has one just battling.
I love it. All right, let's go to 2 Sugar 1 Cream. Pat, you went to college in Carolina. Where at specifically?
COA, Elizabeth City.
Okay. All right. So what was the good? I mean, I know they got a Ruby Tuesday, and that's the Friday night spot.
That's about it. I mean, unfortunately, everybody. It's right. It's kind of like a driver and a half from where we all live at. So we all know there's really nothing down there. But I got to go off the beaten path. The best place to eat was our house. We had a roommate We called him Potted Meat, and I don't know if we're allowed to say the first part on the podcast, but potted,
Let's refrain.
You kind of get it. And then the other one was because his dad was a meat butcher. So every weekend he would go back to Bertie County and come back with brown paper bags full of bacon, steak. I'm talking fresh cut. All right, so it was me, my cousin, him, and another guy named Brandon that lived in the house. Next door to us was the apartment complex where the rest of the team lived. Every single night, the entire team was at our house. So I mean, there's other than like maybe Headlights, Elizabeth City. But you ain't eating.
Oh my gosh, stop it! You're not. For those that so no one here knows except for us two. Headlights was a strip club. Okay, you're not eating there, not at all.
Fun fact:
Right.
never been to a strip club.
Really?
Nope.
You never went to the one that burned down in Morgantown?
Never went. I just am so awkward when it comes to that stuff. Like, I can't do it. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Every time I say that, my friends are like, "You never been to one? You're such a fucking pervert." Blah, blah, blah. Just never been to one. Can't do it.
It'll
Actually, opposite, sir. I've never been.
It'll change your life when your girlfriend comes up to you and she's like, "Babe, we're going to a strip club." You're gonna be like,
okay, so there's a question for you there. So if your girl comes up to you and is like, "Hey, let's go to the strip club," are you in or are you out? I know you're in. I know you're in, Two Creams.
You know my wife, man. That's the thing.
I'd probably go. I mean, it's like I don't know though. Like honestly, I've had so many opportunities. I've just never gone. Are
you going because it's what your wife wants to do, or are you going because there's intrigue, or a little bit of both?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't.
There we go.
But wait, so Pat, you're an Outer Banks guy then? If you're in Elizabeth City, that's what? That's
I'm Virginia Beach, but believe it or not, I played in Carolina. But the funny thing is there was only one or two kids that were on that team that were from Carolina. One was from Ahoskie, the other one was from Bertie County. Everybody else. You had Cox kids. You had myself. That was an Oscar Smith kid, unfortunately. And then you had a couple people that were Lynn Haven, like David Hughes and a couple of other people. I mean, there was a lot of good talent on that team, like Jake Stone. I'm talking at just watching this boy hit was a miracle in itself. I'm talking he's a left-handed hitter. He's probably like 5'11", maybe 6 foot, probably about 200 pounds. If he hit it, if it didn't leave the park, you watch out because it's coming. It's coming fast. I mean, I'm talking like that was what he was brought on the team to do. I was a pitcher. All I did was pitch. I sat on the bench, and then they're like, "Hey, Tucker, come on." And then I'm like, "Okay," strolling on out there. But I mean, I'm talking. He was one of the best ones. Like Matt Ittner right now is Cox High School coach. He was my teammate down there, and he's got to be one of the purest souls I've ever met in my life. But we had a lot of good talent down there, but it just the team only lasted, I think, 2 years, 3 years, and it was Norby Wilson from First Colonial that was the coach, and it just for some reason it folded. I don't know exactly what happened, but I don't know if it was funding or what, but.
Sure.
Their
aim was to be, when he says COA, it's College of the Albemarle, and their aim was to be a really big JUCO. And they did. A lot of kids went through there. Another one that y'all might have heard of would be Chowan. Chowan is right around there as well. And a lot of kids go there for a year or two because they didn't get the showcase exposure or whatever the case may be. And they go play there for 2 years. And then the next thing you know, they're at D1 playing at a UVA or a Florida or something like that. But since we're talking about baseball, that is one topic I wanted to get on because I know Kelsey's a huge baseball fan. Yes, believe it or not. Listen, Kelsey can talk baseball with the best of them. So y'all take it away because I haven't been watching much of anything when it comes to baseball. I watch enough to bit my brewed bets in on Saturday, and then I'm out. So let's take it away. Ladies first, because I know she's got some stuff she wants to say. But Kelsey, take our baseball segment away. What are you seeing so far in the start to baseball?
I think it's just crazy coming off of COVID and everything and everybody coming out, like just like the difference. And everything, like I'm a huge Braves fan, so I've been keeping up with Braves every night, been playing and everything. Like, just Shout out to the series with the Phillies, the best series they've played all year. But other than that, I don't know, somebody else-
What are you doing to my kitchen table? What are you flipping over? Is that a placemat?
Fiddle with something.
Okay. All right, Two Sugar. Go ahead.
She doesn't like the decor, man. She's coming in and revamping the entire.
She's a fidgeter because she's nervous. She's never been on a podcast before, and now we're live and streaming on Facebook, and she's like, "Oh crap!"
Makes me nervous.
All right. As far as baseball goes, I'll start by saying the Yankees are still the Yankees.
So they suck.
But this cannot go unsaid, and I've been waiting for this moment as far as the baseball segment of this podcast. Can we sit here and appreciate the no-look double play from the Braves?
Yes, sir. That was nasty.
Dude, you cannot
Let's see if I can
just let that go untalked about. I mean, they've slow-moed on Facebook for like 8 days now or however long it's been. And I'm like,
it's still,
that's nuts. But I mean, the start to baseball, as far as I agree, it's coming off of COVID. It's rocky.
Let's see. Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna see if I can get this. If I can get this shared real quick. Y'all keep going.
No, hey, share it up because I'm telling you what, man. That no look play, you cannot. That to me right there is the play of the season so far.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
down.
you can't being a PFP pitcher field and play. You cannot sit there and argue with one, the knowledge of what he was doing. Two, just the sheer instinct of knowing what to do at that point in time.
So can y'all see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're up.
So here's the play.
Make it full screen.
Let's go back here.
Wow.
I mean,
Oh my God.
Dude, wait for the slow-mo. Wait for the slow-mo. Matzik is a god.
The commentator says it all. He said, "Whoa, what a play."
Was that him in the stands too? Is that him? Is that he's in the stands too?
I would be too. After that play, I'm going up in the stands. I'm getting my bat patted. I'm telling you right now.
Dude, like baseball is weird for me. Like, I don't dislike the sport, but I can only get into it when I'm there. It's one of those things where when I was like, "What's up? What's up, JT? How you doing?" No, it's one of those things that I can put on in the background, but I blame my disinterest in baseball all on the Pirates just sucking my whole life. If I would have grown up in an area where there was a dominant baseball team, I can probably assume that I'd like them, like baseball and watch baseball much more than I do.
I kind of wish we would have never got those 3 years from 13 to 15 or whatever it was.
Dude, how fun was that with all of us watching that together?
Oh, I mean, that was insane. But as a Pirates fan, like now since I saw that and we were gifted the playoffs, I would have rather just gone my whole life never seeing a playoff run because we saw our first 20 years of our life. It was from 93 to 2000. 93 to 2013. So 20 years. I would have rather just not had it at all because now I just want it back and it's never going to happen.
Well, and the big issue is it's nutting, and nutting literally lives here in Wheeling. I wish I could just go knock on his door and be like, "What's up, man? Sell it to Mark Cuban and let's figure this shit out." But it is what it is. What are you going to do?
I really wish there could be a salary cap. I don't know how it would happen. Like you would have to set a salary floor and a salary cap, but I just want to see it be more competitive because that it's going to be one of 5 teams, but that's most professional sports. It just, there's not much parity.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So who do we like? Because at the beginning of the year, it really felt like the Dodgers were going to be the team, and they are not right now. No. They're I know they have some injuries, but they are not hitting. They're not fielding. It's just a mess. And if you don't believe me, just look at my fantasy team. So who do we like? I mean, I thought Oakland was coming on strong, and then Oakland stumbled. I thought Cleveland was coming on strong, and Cleveland stumbled. It seems to me like the 2 clear-cut teams right now haven't been established. So as someone who doesn't watch a lot, Pat, I mean, the Braves are good. I know that the Braves are going to be the Braves and do their thing, and I think they've probably got the most loaded roster as far as youth goes in the major leagues. But who do we like? I mean, what's going on in the world of baseball?
I mean, I got to admit, dude, the Braves are looking real hot right now. They're on a streak. Everybody's looking good. Everybody's putting the bat on the ball. They got the pitching staff to back it up. I mean, I hate to say it, I got to go with the Braves. I mean, you know, that's kind of where I'm at with it. And that's still pretty tentative. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and, you know, I'm not going to bet $1,000 in Vegas on the Braves right now, but
Why not?
I mean, it's because it's still early in the season. Like, you know, it's baseball. Anything can happen, baby. I mean,
somebody get hurt, something can happen, anything.
Right. You know what I mean? They lose a pitcher or two. You know what I mean? Tommy John's a thing now. We all know that. Trust me, I've had it. You know, that's the way it works. And I mean, you know, but as right now, if we were to bet on the end game right now, I'm sorry, I'm putting my money on the Braves. I mean, they're going at it, man. They're beating everybody. They're playing. They have the defense. They have the pitching staff. They have the relievers. I mean, the bats are showing up. I mean, the Angels ain't looking too bad, but I mean, I think if it were to go up between the two, I'd have my money on the Braves. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at with it. Okay.
Kelsey?
I mean, I agree with him. Like, anything can happen. It's so early in the season. I mean, of course, we have some series that the Braves have been struggling with. Like, we just lost to Detroit, where we were in the middle of one or something like that, where we can't seem to put the bat on the ball, do anything about that. But it is so early in the season where anything can happen. But I do, from where the Braves were last year, I think we definitely got the resources at what we needed to where we fell short last year, to where it could make further next year.
Good point right there. Good point.
So I want to go back to something. So we all like the Braves, and so we're all going to go down to Vegas and put some money on the Braves. I want to go back to the food question because I'm interested to hear from the Morgantown dudes because I fully intend this year to make my way up for a tailgate in Morgantown, West Virginia.
I never even did that. Out of my all 4 years there, I did not go to one football game because I was working.
Okay, so the number one rule in media, Kels, never discredit yourself. You can't do that. Let others do it for you.
Big brother passing on knowledge. I like
that's it. JT, JR, when I come to Morgantown, where is a place I cannot leave without having ate at?
It's all you, JT. You got this, bro.
I feel like me and Czar could probably talk about this for like an hour or two, but I mean, it's tough now because I don't even know what's open because we had the conversation a little bit on the Juice Box a couple weeks ago, but everything shut down due to COVID. I think Tailpipes is done for good. That's the burger shop that I would have picked. Rusted Musket closed. That was while we were still in school, I think.
Yeah,
what a great name.
Dude, but Rusted Musket, like that's the place that you go to when you're walking home at 2 or 3 a.m., like stumbling up the hill and you're starving, and you just go get those like giant sandwiches that when you eat them and wake up the next morning, you feel like you're going to die.
Yeah.
Like there's so much stuff in them. And I would have said Rusted Musket, but I'm kind of with JT. It's like it's changed so rapidly to where the easy answer for me is Boston Beanery, but that's like not anything crazy. That's just kind of like a okay place to go. But I don't know what else is open now. When I was in Morgantown, I literally just stayed in my house, smoked weed, and played 2K. That was it.
I love it. Had about a 2 a.m. Taco Bell run. Hank would usually drive us in the old Jeep. Jeep Wrangler.
Facts. So we'll take you around though. So when you come up, so here's the plan. It's funny you actually said that because we want to do a weekend in Morgantown where we take all of the equipment down. We still have everything there and just get like a sick Airbnb and do it for like a football weekend. So whenever we pick one, we'll do it and we'll all just shoot the shit. And Kelsey, you can come too since you just decided not to go to Morgantown when you were in West Virginia for 4 years.
So give me a proximity because I'm going to burn her about this all night long. How close is Elkins to Morgantown?
It's about an hour and a half to.
You can't talk. You never win.
It's out. I'll give it to her. It's about 2 hours.
It's about 2 hours.
Yeah, she is right. It is 2 hours.
Listen, I was working the concession for softball. I never got to go because we were working.
She was focused on her studies.
Sure.
So I went to school in Orlando for golf, and Winter Springs to be more precise. And there was a place called Senor Tequila's. For the people that haven't been to Orlando, Orlando is the most Hispanic rich state I've ever been in my entire life. I mean, it is just Hispanic culture everywhere. So to say that Senor Tequila's was a Mexican restaurant is stating the obvious, but they had a burrito there called the Burrito Zapata. It had steak, grilled chicken, and chorizo, and then it was topped with cheese dip, adobo, and tomatilla sauce. And I'm telling you what, man, if you were hungry, you eat that bad boy, you're good for at least a day. It was delicious. So that was our go-to spot. And you could sit down with a table of 8 of us, 10 of us, 2 of us. We're all getting the Burrito Zapata. So that was pretty cool there. And I like hearing about other towns because, I mean, it's a big world. We're never going to see it all. So I try to live through people that have been places I haven't. So let's slide a little bit. Go ahead, JT.
I was going to say, Jerry, do you remember there was one spot that I was only at freshman year and then I never went back, and I don't know why. Wings Olay.
Wings Olay. Yep.
That was such a good spot. I think I went to it the first football game that I ever went to. And then for some reason, because it was in a random spot, it was over there by the football stadium, but like we always lived on the other side of town. So I never went back.
No, I think I've only eaten there 1 or 2 times, and the only reason I have is because I won the Twitter retweet contest, and when you get free food,
never gonna pass that up.
every time I got it, I ate. But no, that place was very good for sure.
Is Czar there yet? Or
no, he's not here yet. No,
I think he could probably rattle off a list of like 10, 15 places.
Oh, dude, he's nuts when it comes to that shit. Like, but he's like that everywhere though. Like anywhere he goes, he has at least like a list of 20 restaurants, 20 bars where you have to go. So that's a talent I never got.
That's my sister too, because I go to a different baseball stadium with her every year. And whether it's that trip or any of our family vacations, there is a folder that she brings with all the restaurants that she wants to go to for the vacation, and then all the menus, because if my dad's with, he takes about a day to decide, so we have to give him the menu the day before so he can pick out his food.
Love it.
That's crazy.
I will say,
right, anybody got go ahead, Chelsea.
West Virginia, drive through Elkins. It won't take long, just drive through Elkins.
Facts.
Right. Anybody have anything else they want to say on the food topic?
I think I'm good.
All right, so I'm gonna make a request here. I'm trying to pull up something real quick. Pat, what's going on with the Yankees bullpen, my man?
I don't want to talk about it.
This is my show. This is our show. You're a guest. We have to.
I mean, they need. I'm trying to think of a way to put this.
I actually feel bad for you because I can tell it hurts you inside.
It does. I mean, as a pitcher myself, I mean, I'll give you the background story. I ended up throwing 94 miles an hour in college. Blew out my elbow, blew out my shoulder, the whole bit. So when I go on to, like, the new pitcher for so-and-so, and they're like, he's the greatest thing ever, and he's throwing 89, and I'm like, you know what I mean? It hurts my feelings.
You're about to get snatched up by a plane, bro.
I mean, they need one. I mean, we got Garrett Cole, but he's even struggling because right now the bats aren't swinging.
He can only get you so far.
Right, you can put all the
get him, Kels.
As far as ERA, Ks, and this, that, and other, but when the other team's out hitting you, that doesn't really matter. And I think we talked about this on the Brews and Bets show just a little bit as far as defense wins games, but still you got to put points on the board. My pitcher can sit there and, K 11, 12, 13 people, but when the other team's out hitting you, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
But as far as relief pitching, garbage. They have none. They don't have anybody they can literally have full faith in to go to. And that's my thing. They have, maybe one or two solid starting pitchers that can actually go out there and perform, put up the Ks, you know what I mean, and actually kind of sort of shut them down for the most part. But once you're getting into the 6th, 7th inning, you're looking for the middleman. You're looking for the reliever, and they have nothing in that aspect of the lineup. There's nothing there. When they calling on bullpen, you might as well be flipping or rolling a dice and just say, "Hey, come on." I mean, there's nothing there.
Not a recipe for postseason success.
This is where we were talking about where they were building their lineup for power as far as hitting. They've spent all their money on Aaron Judge, joke. And they've spent all their money on, this, that, and the other. But what they failed to realize was slump happened.
Hold on. Did my boy JT just have a beer delivered?
I saw that.
That is tight. So look, I want to make a request, y'all. JT and Jerry Nixon here. I want if we could pick a game for that Morgantown, a weekend in Morgantown. I would love it if it would be September 18th when y'all host Virginia Tech. Because I love, as a Virginia fan, I love watching Tech get that butt whooped.
I am down for that.
Either that or the Oklahoma game would be my two.
Ooh, the Oklahoma game's always packed.
I was going to say Oklahoma would be a good one too.
Yeah,
Wait, shit,
you're 100% right about that.
Do we play VT this year?
Yeah.
Haha, yeah, dude, come up for that. That'd be sick.
That was
the Oklahoma game is actually at Oklahoma. I lied. I was thinking of the Texas Tech game where y'all host.
Oh god, that was a great tailgate when we were at FedEx Field.
Oh, or Texas. Y'all get Texas at home this year too. That'd be a good one. But I stand by.
I'm game for whatever game you guys want to go to. But if I'm gonna, I always say this: if I'm gonna spend money to go to a game, I'd rather spend money to go to the best game. Like I don't care like where I sit particularly, but if I'm gonna go, I'd probably narrow it down to VT or Texas. But I hate to say this because I gotta go and start getting ready for the juice box. I want to leave on one thing for everybody listening. Don't forget, Aaron Rodgers is the Denver Broncos quarterback right now. And the reason being is because his wife and girlfriend, Shailene Woodley, lives in Boulder, Colorado. Guys do anything for their girls. He's coming to Denver, and don't forget it. You heard it here first. Breaking news, Rodgers to the Broncos. Love you all. Thank you. I have to go.
All right,
JR. Appreciate you.
It was a pleasure.
That's a great thing to leave on.
It's a great note. His wife and his girlfriend. I love it. Because he's got both. He has to.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about something that we all have something to say.
Oh, God.
Adult league softball.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure you're playing a buddy of mine tonight because I just got off the phone with him before I started this, and he's like, "I got to go to co-ed softball, man."
Where's he at? Because we're playing at Greenbrier.
He said they're out of Lynn Haven. I asked him what league.
Oh, that's not us.
He said something about lower. I don't remember because all I know is A, B, C, D, and E. You know?
Yeah,
I mean?
he's not in Virginia Beach. We're in Chesapeake.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we are playing the second place team. So if anyone would like to come out and show support, we are all about it. I think we'll have about a case and a half of Trulies out there. So I want to end this on something fun. And I know y'all probably seen it. There's an episode of Family Guy and one of the segments was Peter had a segment on the local news called "Grind My Gears." Right. So I want to give everyone an opportunity to talk about something that really just gets you upset and grinds your gears. And I'll start because I've been sitting on this for like 3 weeks. Okay. I was in a certain state of mind a couple of weeks ago where I decided I wanted some ice cream. And I went and I got my ice cream. I got it out. I got my bowl. I got my scoop. And I got upset that the ice cream wasn't coming out of the scoop. And I was upset because now I got to use my finger, right? When did we get to a point in America where we were so coddled that our ice cream scoops have to release the ice cream and we're upset with ice cream on our finger? That's delicious. That's delicious. That's a gift. It's delicious. Like if you don't want to eat the ice cream, why you even got the carton out? So I was starting to look it up, and I went to Amazon because, of course, that's where you go for everything. Do y'all know the technology in ice cream scoops these days? They got ice cream scoops that will release the ice cream for you. We don't have universal health care, but you don't have to get ice cream on your fingers.
You can find just about anything on the internet.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about that I was like, man, how coddled are we that we can't even get ice cream on our fingers anymore? My gosh. Pat, give me something that bothers you, bro. I know you got something. One's over your shoulder.
All right, look, it ain't really funny. It ain't really, it's just something that's been on my mind for probably about a year now. So, I was coaching travel ball baseball, you know what I mean? And it was with, I won't say the organization on the podcast, but it was with a prestigious organization in the United States. So my whole coaching staff left due to politics, greed for money, this, that, and the other. We didn't agree with that. We agreed with player development. We agreed with, building fundamentals, building mechanics, teaching the kids and teaching them how to be men, husbands, fathers, you know what I mean? Building the kids for life. So this is what leads me to what grinds my gears right now.
This is what
The new coach, I went and watched this team play my assistant coach's team on a different organization now. And they lost 17-1. This is baseball. That's kind of like basketball numbers. You know what I mean? They lost 17-1. But the issue is I noticed the kids that were on the team when I was the coach versus what they are now. It's downgraded. Like, I'm talking bat pass, launch angle. The whole bit is way off. I'm talking one of the kids I loved. He used to hit home runs nonstop. Couldn't hit the floor if he fell. And you know what I mean? That's what's grinding my gears is nowadays we have people who think they have the knowledge and ability to coach the youth baseball and get them going where they need to go on the right path. And then they get in the role and they blow it. Now you're gonna have kids that love baseball falling off because they can't hit the ball because I'm doing what coach told me to, but I can't do it. I can't, and I don't mean to get this more into a serious note. I know we're supposed to end on a fun note, but I'm sorry. You asked, and this is what's been on my mind for a hot minute now, and so it's frustrating to me to watch kids that were on a progression. They were getting better. They were, like I had a kid that was probably 4'8", maybe 100 pounds, hitting home runs. Now all of a sudden I looked at they call it Game Changer nowadays, which is what keeps the stats. He's like batting 158, and I'm like, what is that about? And then I'm watching his swing, and I went up to his dad, and I'm like, what's going on here? And he goes, well, this is what the coach is teaching him. And and I'm sorry. And here's my thing though. I'm not against volunteers. I'm great with volunteers. If you're going to volunteer to help somebody and help kids out, that's great. If you're going to be what I consider elite baseball, which is old fashioned, most of the time now travel ball nowadays is watered down. That's a whole nother podcast for me.
I could agree with you on that.
She did travel softball, so.
But see, it's all watered down. I mean, but at the same time, that's a whole nother podcast. Me, her, and you, we can get on this.
I'll be in on that.
We can go at it. But I mean, for you to sit there and call yourself a coach and you're teaching false mechanics, you're teaching false malination, muscle memory, fancy word. You know what I mean? And hey, that was for the viewers. I don't know if anyone knows. But you know what I mean? You can't, and you're ignoring the fundamentals, you're ignoring the mechanics, and I mean, for example, when a ball is coming down, I don't know if this portrays a softball, I'm not sure, but as far as baseball goes, the ball is coming down, you swing up, right? That's logical. You want to match the ball path with the bat path to get the most efficient through the zone contact, right? Probably the same thing goes for softball as far as rise balls and everything else goes.
Our angle is different, but yeah.
Right. So, I mean, right now, I went and watched one of the kids that I had taken from relatively new to baseball to literally, I'm calling him a stud. Like I said, he was 5 foot nothing hitting home runs. And now I'm talking balls coming in this way, he's swinging that way. And I went up to the dad and I'm like, what is happening here? He goes, this is what the coach is teaching him. And I left it at that. I told the parent my 2 cents. I said, hey, look, bat path needs to match the ball path to maximize everything. And the parent was like, okay, we'll work at that at home, because he knows me. He liked me. He didn't agree with what was going on with the team. I left. Sorry, I'm not that kind of coach. I'm out here for the kids. I'm not out here for the money. But either way, that's to end it. That's what grinds my gears.
I feel like what plays into all of that is that everyone, like, it's widely thought of that baseball is such a laid back sport that it feels like it's not, but that's like what it's widely known as. So anybody feels like we need a youth coach. Just anybody goes out there and tries to do it. Like every other sport, you have guys that have like been playing the sport forever, know it, like can coach it like it's the back of their hand. And baseball, you just throw some parents out there because they're going to be at every game, and they throw a lineup together. At practice, they let you hit through around. You do a little bit of fielding. You don't actually go into all the fundamentals that are needed to create good ball players. So I feel like that's what has happened.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's so in depth that it's not even funny. I mean, if you're looking at, let's look at the corner players. Their first reaction is vertical. You got the middle infielders. Their first reaction is horizontal. Mm-hmm. Vertical players don't have far to go. They need to get down to the ground because that's your hardest hit balls is at the corners. So therefore, you need to read a kid and look at him and say, okay, he's going to be better at a corner because that's the way he reacts. You know what I mean? You're not going to put him at shortstop and second base when his first reaction is down, when he's got to go get one in the gap in the 5-6 hole and make that Jarrett Jeter play that everybody loves. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. Yeah. So now you got maybe a parent played high school baseball, and that's great. You know what I mean? But if you don't have the actual coaching ability to be able to look at a kid and say, and watch his mechanics, watch his movements, and be able to figure out where he is going to best suit himself and the team, you don't really need to be there. Right. When you're teaching false mechanics, when you're old fashioned, like not, what's knob to the baseball? That's wrong. We don't teach knob to the baseball. That's wrong. And I've heard it within the past year. Coaches coaching that nonsense, and I'm like, that is not okay. Knob goes to the pitcher, barrel follows. Everybody knows that. Softball lady right there can tell me the same thing. I see her over there. She knows exactly what's going on. You rotate the box. You don't sit there and go knob to the baseball. And I hate to say it, I love the guy. That's Tony Gwynn talk. Tony Gwynn, and this is going to lead me into real versus feel is what it's called. Alex Rodriguez teaches knob to the baseball, but if you watch every single one of his videos, not a single one did he go knob to the baseball. But that's what it feels like he's doing. So that's what he's going to coach. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a lot of misconception with youth coaches versus what they're – I mean, whether you're Googling it or whatever, that's fine. But there's a lot of misconception with what is actually real and what is feel in baseball.
And there's 2 things you've said that I have strong feelings on. Number one is player positioning. So there's as a hot corner player, that's, and for those that y'all that don't know what we're talking about third base and first base. The ball's coming at you so quick, you've got to read the batter. If the batter's got their hands up on the ball or up on the handle, you can come in. They're hitting for contact. If they've got their hands all the way down or a pinky hanging off, they're hitting for power. You need to back up. And if you don't have a player that can read a batter, they have no business playing a hot corner whatsoever. The second thing I'll say, and this is the most lost in translation thing in all of sports, in my opinion, personally. I could be wrong, but it's an opinion, so it's not wrong. The throwing motion, the perfect throwing motion is not a natural movement for the body. Period. End of discussion. Yep. The body is not built to move that direction. And you've got these kids going out there throwing complete games, throwing 120 pitches, playing tournaments at shortstop, back to back to back to back to back at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and you're not teaching them the proper arm slot. And in most of the time, keep in mind the proper throwing motion is not. You had Tommy John, I know. The proper throwing motion is not to alleviate pain. The proper throwing motion is to minimize damage to your arm.
Yep.
And that gets lost in translation in the sports of baseball and softball. And I think it's one of the biggest disservices to youth sports in every youth sport that's available is that people aren't teaching that. If you tell a kid, hey, your arm's not right because it's not coming out fast enough, it's not coming out accurate enough, you're not flipping the switch on your curveball enough, that doesn't teach them anything. If you say, hey, your arm is too far wide, and if you keep doing that, you won't play baseball past middle school, that's going to resonate with somebody.
Yep.
That's going to hit. And I think that gets lost, and I hate that it does. And I'm glad we've got coaches like you out there. And I know Kelsey, if she had the opportunity to coach, would coach the exact same way. But that grinds my gears a little bit too. But we'll pass it over to JT. Anything bothering you?
Oh, I mean, I have nothing that good. I'm trying to think here.
I definitely took the fun away. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I don't really have anything grinding my gears. I mean, don't fill your gas up in plastic bins. That's my grind my gear moment. But we don't have to dive too much into that. But on a fun note, I want to know adult league softball players, what positions?
Kelsey.
I've been playing third, second, and outfield.
All right, Brandon.
Third base.
So I'm shortstop and left field.
Okay. I got my first game tomorrow. I haven't played in over a year, but I was always I was a coach, or like I ran the team for a while, and it was always just wait till everyone shows up and I'm getting filled in wherever, because I mean, I was always the Swiss Army knife in high school. I played every position but catcher.
Okay.
So I was mainly third, second, and outfield. So it was always one of those.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at too. I mean, I'm typically at short or left, but I'll play anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So they just put me where they need me. Pat's a pitcher. I don't know that Pat's ever played slow pitch softball.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm saving my arm for my kids. I got a lot of catch to play.
Hey,
yeah.
And I got a little time left in my arm, man. So that's about it. That's about all I got. They've asked me to play grown men baseball. They've asked me to play softball, and I mean,
that's it.
I want to. Don't get me wrong, but I can't. I don't want anything to happen to where I can't play catch with my kids.
That's it. Well, we're almost at an hour and a half here, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Kelsey, we appreciate you joining. 2 sugar, 1 cream, Pat. Always a pleasure. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow on Brood Bets.
Oh, you know.
For JT of Sports Shift Media, I'm Brandon Johnson with Sports with BJ. We want to give a special shout out to Jerry Nixon Jr., JR of the Juicebox Pod, who presents Press Break, which is the show we're on tonight. We appreciate all the comments. We appreciate all the feedback, and we look forward to doing it again next week. Y'all take care.
Have a good one.